Moji and the Little Mermaid. Once upon a time, in a quiet village called Ayetoro, there lived an 8-year-old girl named Moji. She was a beautiful girl with curious eyes, like twinkling stars, and hair in 2 afro buns. Moji lived with her father, a kind but busy farmer, and her stepmother, Mama Titi, who had 2 daughters from her previous marriage, Titi and Dupe. Unlike Moji, who was gentle and respectful, Titi and Dupe were always frowning and full of complaints. They mocked Moji for being motherless and often took her toys, clothes, and even her food. Mama Titi was the worst of them all. She made Moji sleep in the kitchen on a mat and gave her the hardest chores. Clean the compound, fetch the water, wash the plates, and don't you dare touch the meat in the soup. She would bark every morning, waving a broom in Moji's face. And if Moji ever tried to complain, Mama Titi would narrow her eyes and whisper, "Open your mouth and see what will happen. Do you want to join your mother in the grave?" "Why did my mother die and leave me?" little Moji would often sob. Under the mango tree behind her father's house, Moji, with her dusty feet and tear-streaked face, would hug her knees tightly. Her mother had died 3 years ago, but her heart still ached like it had just happened. Moji's mother had died of a sudden illness. It started with a fever, then a deep cough, and before anyone could say herbs, she was gone. Moji was just 5. Her father, heartbroken and confused, was lonely. The farm needed tending, and Moji needed a woman's care, or so he thought. A year later, he married Mama Titi, a widow with 2 daughters, Titi and Dupe. At first, she smiled sweetly and cooked pepper soup, but soon, her true colors bled through, sharp like needles. She never beat Moji when her father was home, but she gave her impossible chores, withheld food, and called her the rat child. Moji learned quickly to stay quiet. Her stepmother always said, "If you tell, no one will believe you, and I will make your life worse." One afternoon, after finishing chores with tears in her eyes, Moji ran deep into the forest. She didn't care where she went. Her little feet carried her to a stream she had never seen before, calm, wide, and sparkling like diamonds. She fell to her knees at the bank. "I wish I had a friend," she whispered. Suddenly, the water rippled. From its depths rose a glowing figure, a girl about her age, with cocoa skin and a dazzling green-blue tail. "Don't cry," the girl said quietly. Moji gasped. Are you a mermaid?" "Yes. My name is Wura," she smiled. "What's yours?" "Moji." "Then Moji," Wura said, offering a webbed hand. "From today, you're not alone." From that day, the two became secret friends. They played games in the water, sang songs, and laughed like sisters. Wura called her Sun Girl, and Moji called her River Joy. One afternoon, as the sun burned, as if it would start the fire, Moji approached the stream with her basket of laundry, dragging her feet. She looked around to make sure she wasn't followed. "Wura, it's me," she whispered. With a splash and a giggle, Wura rose from the water, her tail flickering the droplets into the sunlight. "Moji, you look tired. What did your stepmother ask this time?" Moji sighed and dropped the basket. "She gave me all the clothes to wash. She said if one is dirty, I won't eat." Wura frowned, her sea green eyes narrowing. "She's getting worse, but don't worry. We'll handle it together." Soon, the clothes were washed and dried, and Moji returned home happily. The next morning, Mama Titi shouted, "Moji, take this basket of beans to the stream and pick out every black one. If you don't finish by sundown, no food for you tonight." Moji picked up the heavy basket and walked slowly to the stream. As soon as she got there, she cried out, "Wura!" The water swelled and Wura appeared. Smiling, "Let's do it together." She clapped her hands and tiny fishes jumped out of the water, helping pick out all the black beans with their fins. In no time, the basket was ready. When Moji returned home, Mama Titi was shocked. "How did you finish so fast?" she asked, eyes narrowing. "I just worked very hard," Moji said quickly, remembering the warning. Mama Titi muttered. The next day, she tried again. Mama Titi handed Moji a woven calabash which clearly had holes where the weaves met and said, "Moji, go to the stream and fetch water from the deepest part, but don't spill a single drop or I'll use cane on your back." Moji ran to the stream. Wura! This time, Wura gave her a special calabash, woven with water weed replacing the one Mama Titi had given Moji. This one would not spill even if you run. Moji brought it back full and dry. Now Mama Titi was furious. This girl must be using juju. Mama Titi grew more suspicious and gave Moji more unusual tasks. Time after time, Moji succeeded. The sisters grew jealous. The stepmother grew furious. One afternoon, Mama Titi cornered her daughters. This girl is not normal. We must follow her tomorrow. I want to see what kind of evil magic she uses. Dukwe nervously asked, "But Mama, what if it's really witchcraft?" Mama Titi gritted at it and replied, "Then we'll catch her red-handed." The next morning, Moji was sent to roast 3 tubers of yam at the stream. Mama Titi and her daughters crept behind the bushes, hiding in silence. From the water, Wura emerged. Her seashell earrings sparkling, Moji excitedly shouted, "Wura! They gave me wet yams and told me to roast them on wet sticks." Wura replied with a smile, "Let's fix that, son girl." She blew on the sticks and they dried instantly. She tapped the yams and they roasted in minutes. From the bushes, Mama Titi's eye widened. A mermaid? So this is it, marine spirits. Suddenly, a strange sound croaked through the stream. Croak! Croak! A fat, moldy toad jumped out and landed squarely on Mama Titi's chest. She screamed and tried to throw it off, but it clung tightly. Her skin began to change, rough, slimy, and bumpy like a toad. "Croak, Moji, I did it, I lied. Croak, I beat her, threatened her, starved her. Croak, I wicked her. Wicked, I'm wicked. Croak." Her daughter screamed in horror. Villagers, hearing the noise, ran to the stream. The village chief arrived. Moji stood shivering while Wura glowed gently in the water. "Speak, child, what happened?" the chief asked sternly. Moji took a breath and told her story of the chores, the cruelty, the threats, and her secret friend in the stream. Mama Titi continued croaking. The chief, shaking his head, addressed Mama Titi. "You beat a motherless child. You made her a slave?" He turned to Baba Moji, who stood speechless. Baba Moji looked ashamed as he said, "I never knew. My daughter, forgive me." Moji nodded, tears falling freely now. Mama Titi was banished to live alone on the outskirts of the village until her toad curse wore off, if it ever would. Moji was taken in by the chief's wife and given a chance to go to school. Each week, she visited the stream where Wura waited with a smile. And so, Moji grew strong, wise, and joyful. The girl who once had no voice now taught others to speak up. I hope you liked the story. If you did, subscribe, share this video with your friends, and like this video. It really helps the channel. And as always, I will see you in my next video. Bye!